Welcome to Smile with Des.
Hey guys, how's it going? We are talking about tips for guys and girls on how to go on more dates.
We've both prepared two lists, one for girls and one for guys, and basically just basic tips on how to get more dates or how to get on more dates. So Des will give her tips for guys on how to get on more dates.
I don't know. I think the first thing for guys is to be more creative in the way that you ask a girl out. I love when guys approach it as, hey, I have an extra ticket for this concert this Friday night. You want to go with me? Or, hey, I need a date for this activity, blah, blah, blah. Because it kind of sets it in more casual mode and not so direct and
So when you say creative, you're not saying be fancy.
No. Because sometimes that will blow up in your face. No, just more casual instead of, I think it's a better word than creative, of just hey, I'm doing this thing and I want someone to come with me. Do you want to come? And then it takes the pressure off of dating. It takes the pressure off the girl of oh, he's expecting to go on a date and there's all these protocols I have to follow and, all of these social norms. But it's more of a friend date, or it's it's casual and you can be yourself. I think it just takes a lot of pressure off of the situation.
So kind of more be creative in how you remove the pressure of the date.
Yeah.
Or the expectations, the pressure of expectations.
Yeah, and then I think for guys, if the girl's really just not interested in spending any time with you, then it takes off the pressure of being turned down. So, and if the girl wants to go with you, she'll say, hey, I'm actually busy tonight, but I'm free next Thursday. And then that gives you a leeway of hey, this girl actually wants to go out with me. But if she says, no, I'm good, thanks, then it's not
So my question is, I've had girls say, oh, I can't, sorry. And then they leave it at that. And they give me a legitimate reason that they're busy. And then later on, they're like, hey, how come you've never
didn't ask me back out?
And I was like, well, you didn't give me another date.
So girls, how to get more dates would be in that situation. If you really want to go out with them, is to provide that opportunity of, hey, I can't. However, I'm free this other time.
Okay. How often would you say girls actually do that?
It's really hard because I grew up doing that. And so I just assume that other people do it. But,
because my rule of thumb is move on.
Move on.
No matter what happens, just move on.
Just move on.
It's not worth it.
It's not worth it. Well, you never know. But, 10 years later, it would be a better time. But
yeah,
she's just busy for a really, really long time.
Okay.
But I don't know, it depends on how much you're into her. If you're just going to ask her out for the sake of asking her out, or if you really like her, then you'll want to try again, right? But I would say after 2 times, if she says no again and doesn't give you
a new date
or invite you to something else, that's another thing for the girls is provide opportunities where you can be with the guy so that he'll ask you out.
Okay.
Last weekend, I invited a guy to 2 different things, and then he was just hey, now it's my turn. You want to go out next Tuesday?
Okay.
I'm yes, I do. I am free. I will make myself free. Actually, no, it was one of those, I am busy tomorrow, but I am free next Tuesday.
Gotcha.
So.
Next tip?
Well, I think for the guys, the more, if you think of it as a filtering system, the more girls that you meet, the more opportunities you're going to have to find a girl that you want to take out and or that will say yes.
Yeah.
And so get yourself out there. Yes, there are some girls that are literally just sitting on their couch watching chick flicks and eating food, just waiting for you to show up. But the more people that you meet, the more you're likely that you're going to be able to take more girls out.
Okay. I've heard of this as the funnel system.
Yeah.
Or the 100 slapstick.
100 slapstick. What's that one?
A slapstick in hockey is really hard to. It's a really tough. You just hitting the puck as hard as you can and hoping it goes in.
Oh.
But because you're not aiming or anything, it can go anywhere.
Oh, okay.
But if you hit it enough times, one of them's bound to go in.
Hey, that makes sense for sure. oh, and be where you would want to find them, if that makes sense. So if I want a guy that works out and that's super fit, where is he most likely going to be? He's going to be at a gym, or he's going to be batting cages or a park or whatever. Be where you want to meet someone. If you want someone that's really spiritual, you got to go to church, or you got to go to those conferences or things where that have. Oh, did you say heaven?
Yeah.
I thought you said that have them. Yeah, heaven has them. Don't die. There's still hope for, eternal marriage after you die. But how about we stay
Last
here?
resort.
Last resort. Oh my word. Okay. But yeah, like, I don't know, does that make sense? Like, like
involve yourself in the environment that correlates to the culture that you are attracted
to. And be the person that you want to attract. Like, for example, like growing up, I think I was like 19 or something, and I was like, I want a guy that goes to the temple for personal worship or whatever, at least like twice a month or whatever, or like once a week or no, I think it was like twice a month. And my friend was like, well, how often do you go?
Yeah.
And I was like, once every 3 months, you know?
Right.
And so then I was like, oh, well, how can I expect a guy to have this if I don't have that? And so I ended up going once a week, and it like improved my life. And then, you know.
You're still single.
And well, that is by choice. I actually met quite a few guys in the temple where they've asked me out and stuff like that.
No,
so
I'm just razzing you. I know.
It's okay. I'm good.
I know you're good.
Yeah, and I think just being yourself, like, is really a really big thing of just, you know. So that's what I got for the guys.
Okay,
like,
cool.
Be in that environment. The more girls that you run into, the more you're able to.
So remove stressors.
Yes.
Or expectations.
Mm-hmm.
Or the stress from expectations. And then, what was the second one?
Like, be where you want to
put yourself in the
that,
environment and make yourself able to attract that environment. Mm-hmm. And then third is be yourself.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's really important.
No, I like it. It was good. All right. So my first one is to understand girls' perspective. And so I think it's kind of like similar to what you were saying, like removing those expectations. Mm-hmm. And so like as a guy, like I think the best approach to start off with is to like try to figure out where the girl is. And there's many different types of girls. I mean, you got girls who there's a good chance that the girl you're asking out doesn't want to go on a date with you. And she's going to, in her head, be like, ew, no, it just happens. Ow. It happens to everybody. Mm-hmm. And so, like, you got to understand that that is a possible perspective. But then there's also, like you were saying, like, some girls, like, depending on how you ask and what, they're like, oh my gosh, like, what's the expectation? What's this? Right. And so understand, like, where you're at, where they're at, have, like, that baseline. So that's my first tip is like understand their perspective, the girl's perspective. And this is advice for guys. And then the second one is so the second one is to stop only interacting with girls you want to marry. Mm-hmm. Like the biggest thing I see from guys is that they'll go somewhere and they'll look around and they'll be like, oh, nobody here is somebody I could see myself married to. So bye. I'm going to stand in the corner and be quiet or bye or leave. Yeah. And it's like, you want to know who's creepy? The people who are creepy are the people... the
ones in the corner.
Yeah. Who only speak to people they want to, like, make out with. Mm-hmm. Like, and I'm not even, like... You should be talking to guys at the very least, you know? There's no loss in going up and trying to chat up some other dude. Yeah. And so, social people who are comfortable being social with everyone aren't creepy. If I was only talking to one girl in the entire room, it would come off creepy. But because I'm acting the same with everyone, it's not creepy anymore. Because, like, oh, that's just him. That's how he is. Like... He's nice like that kind of thing.
Yeah. So that reminds me, there was a dance that I went to. I went country swing dancing, and there was this guy that walked in, really attractive. All the girls were like trying to talk to him and stuff, and he just was kind of quiet in the corner type of thing. And they were trying to get him to dance, and so I was like, I can do it. If I can't do it, no one can do it, right? And so like I went up to him, we started talking and all that, and I'm like, come dance with me. And he almost did, but he's just like, no. I'm like, well, do you not know how to dance? Do you not like to dance? Because that's a thing. And he's just like, no, I do. But he just wanted to dance with me. Well, and then these two women walked in that were like barely dressed, you know, but very, very attractive, very fit and all this stuff. And he immediately jumped up and went in and talked to them and started dancing with them. But this was after 2.5 hours of coaxing him and trying to get him to do stuff. Right. And so then when he tries to talk to me later, I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. Like, you're not, like, you wouldn't even talk to me. Yeah. Like, you wouldn't even dance with me. But, like, I know you're not attracted to me, but, like you weren't even willing to get out there and have fun. Right. So now I don't want to set you up with my friends. Right. Because I'm like, I don't want to like help you out because you're kind of shallow. So I don't know.
Yeah. No, and I think that even extends to going on dates. Like if the only person you're ever taking on a date is just the handful of people you run into once in a while that you're attracted to, I mean, guess what? You suck at dating. Mm-hmm. Like, I mean, dating and being good at going on dates takes practice. And so, I mean, the whole 10,000 hour rule thing, like the more you go on dates, the better you'll be at them. Mm-hmm. And if you're just going to straight up hold out, then you're not going to be good at it. You're going to always be nervous. You're going to be
awkward. Yeah. You're not going to say, like, it's so nice to go on a date with someone you're not attracted to or you're not fully in there and mess up like the way that you tell a story or like how you approach things or whatever, just so you can learn from that experience. And on average, we marry someone like on a scale of 1 to 10, like we all want a 10,
sure,
right? But you usually, like, the average person will marry someone that they originally thought was a 5 or 6, maybe a 7, but we end
on an actual 1 to 10 scale.
On an actual 1 to 10 scale. I mean, like in your eyes they become a 10 or you're 8 or 9, but originally you weren't like
blown away by them.
Blown away. And so it's like if you're only going out with people you're blown away by, chances are that it's not really gonna work out, and then you're just gonna be single forever.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, no, you're good. That's the whole point of it. The other part of that is that, like, especially me, I'm like, I'm not spending money on a whole bunch of girls. Like, it takes a lot of time, it takes a lot of effort. And so my third tip to guys is how to be efficient with your first dates. And so there's a few things within it. But my rules of thumb, and these are rules of thumb, I break them all the time, break them as you need to, but it's a great starting position, is that a first date should be about an hour and a half. Mm-hmm. There should be no food, no going out to a restaurant or anything. If you want to pack a light lunch, fine. Don't go to a restaurant. Like, you're not buying her food. You're not buying her cotton candy from a stand. You're doing something. And that it should cost you less than $20, hopefully including date or gas. Mm-hmm. It should only cost you $20 to go on the whole date. And yeah, I mean, in my opinion, that's the best way to do a first date. It's an hour and a half long. It's not this huge dedication of time. She and you both know if you're having a bad time, you're going to be out before a movie can end, and then you don't feel like taken advantage of because, you didn't blow all this money. Right.
Well, and I think having a backup plan to that, though, too, is so if you just, like, go to the park and feed the ducks or whatever, those, some of, like, my funnest dates were the cheapest dates. And the most awkward dates were the most expensive dates, And so, but then have a backup plan, like, hey, I really like this girl. Yeah, maybe we should... go here next, or like maybe we'll go out for some ice cream or whatever after, but have a backup plan, but like keep it to that hour and a half.
All right, 3 tips for girls. Understand the boys' perspective, same as the guys. So I mean, like, okay, so I hear girls complaining about like not getting asked out all the time, and they're like, well, why don't guys just ask girls? Like, what's the worst that could happen? And like the biggest lie that people just like refuse to acknowledge is that, oh, well, the worst that can happen is they say no. And like, that's not the worst that can happen. Mm-hmm. The worst that can happen is you get a big ew or psycho, and then they go tell their friends, and next thing you know, your entire reputation's ruined because you asked the wrong girl on a date. Yeah. Now, obviously, that's an extreme worst case.
That is very extreme.
But like, you have to understand, like, that's what guys go through every time they ask a girl out. Like, it's like, I could be publicly shamed, and not every guy goes through that. But
well, and it's producing vulnerability. Like, you're being vulnerable by asking someone out, and like, it depends on how she's gonna take it, of like, oh my gosh, he must be really into me, or like, oh, I can't. And like, from the girl's perspective, she's like, oh my gosh, I don't know if you're a 10 in my eyes or whatever, and she's just gonna shoot you down. But
so I mean, like, I think if girls just understood that, like, there are real world consequences that embed like deep fears into guys. Like, every time we ask a guy or a girl, every time a guy asks a girl on a date, he has to go through like overcoming those fears, and the level of fear is different for every guy. And so I think just acknowledging like, oh yeah, it's tough, and I think that goes a long way. But I think that even more so, it just having that understanding creates empathy.
Like, to see where they're coming from.
Right.
And a way to help out with that is, girls, why don't you ask a guy on a date and see how hard it is? Yeah. Like, it's hard. Yeah. But, it could also be rewarding at times.
Yeah. And then my second tip is...
Don't ask guys. No,
don't try. No. Stop complaining about not getting asked out on dates, because like, let's be honest, every girl I've ever seen ask or complain, at least online, about not getting asked out on dates got asked out on a dozen dates. And she's not being honest that it's not that she's not getting asked out on dates, she's just not getting asked out on dates
with the right guys that she wants,
but the guys she wants to ask her. So yeah.
Well, my take on that is, if a guy wants to ask you out, he's gonna ask you out. It's not like it's
if he can overcome the fear,
right? Well, that too, but like, if you like, I don't know, like, it's kind of like he's just not that into you, where he's like, the guy went through the whole phone book to find the know, Jill Smith or whatever, and like, but yeah, so sometimes it's just like your attitude, or that's not attractive for you to be bitter and just be like, why aren't they asking me out? Right. Like, what are you doing to not have them ask you out?
Right. And for more even too, like, it's like this weird, like you don't actually want to go on more dates. You want to go on more dates with guys you're attracted to. So let's just start out like, this is a tip for people who actually want to go on more dates. Stop complaining and bandwagoning on people who actually want to go on dates. It's ridiculous, because when I hear a girl complaining about not going on dates, and then I go ask her on a date and she's like, oh no, like, then shut up.
I know, right?
Stop complaining about something that's not real. Like, I don't want to hear from you unless you actually want to go on a date. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's true. Amen. Get over it, girls.
Well, just, unless you want to go on a date, just don't complain. Right. And then it kind of goes to my third tip is lose the pride and make it easy to ask you. Like, so many girls, I think, have this, not so many girls, some girls, there's a lot of self-pride, and like you were saying, like, if the guy wants to ask you, he'll ask you, and that's true to a degree. The problem is that doesn't mean sit in the corner and be absolutely silent and wait for him to walk up to you. Like, it's not like, oh, I'm better than that, I shouldn't have to grovel to some guy to get him to ask me because I'm better than that. And it's like, you know what though? Who's he going to ask? You, who refuses to do anything, or the girl who's at least going to start a conversation with him? Right. So don't, lose the pride and just like make it easy. If you want to go on a date with a guy, make it easy for him to ask. And that doesn't mean like be weird, right? Or make it easy for him to ask you. Make it comfortable. A guy's already trying to get over all this fear. If you remove all the fear of asking you, what's going to stop him?
Well, and like, from my studies, guys won't ask you out unless they're 80 to at least 90% sure that you're gonna say yes. So if you're not making it easy for them, or like letting them know that you are interested, that's the one thing about like dating apps like Tinder or Mutual or whatever that I do like, is that I know that if they swipe on me, that means that they're already interested. They're already, like, at least attractive. And so it's like, you shouldn't wonder if I want you to ask me out because I just said that I was interested in you. Right. But if you're not making it easy for them, and you're not providing opportunities for them to know that you would say yes, then they're not going to, because who wants to get rejected? Yeah. So, no, I like that. Yeah. Yeah. One, and ways that I have for girls to do that is like physical touch. Okay. Like that's a thing. Yeah. And so, and I'm not just saying like go up to a guy and start making out with him, like, and he'll ask you out. Like, don't be that easy. But like just subtle things, like how close of proximity are you to this guy that you want to ask you out? Like, are you, and you don't have to like just go straight to like trying to hold his hand, things like that, but just be close to him. Mm-hmm. Or like, I think it's from Hitch, he's like, when you're in a crowded space, like that's perfect to break that touch barrier, because you have to get closer. Right. Like touch his arm, or like just be playful in different ways. But also, like, in other words of physical is your body language. A lot of women, their body language sucks. Yeah. Like, I was talking to a girl and she's like, I don't know why guys like don't ask me out, like I'm at the same party as you are and all this stuff, and like they just don't talk to me. And I'm like, okay, you right now, you are folding your arms, you are like, you have everything crossed, like you're cold RBF. Yeah. But you're not that person. Yeah. You are fun and flirtatious, but you don't, your body language isn't saying that. Mm-hmm. And so I literally had her on the next time, like she wasn't allowed to cross her arms or anything. She got asked out that night. Yeah. And it was just like that simple thing of just being open. Right. That guys were like, hey, I think she's interested. So that's probably my first one. And then girls, like, stop literally waiting around for Prince Charming to show up at your doorstep. That only happened to me once. Like, in college, I'm like, I'm not going to date anyone. Like, I'm just going to focus on school. And a guy literally came to my door and was like, hey, I was told I need to meet Des because I'm supposed to take her out or something. And that was great, but that doesn't happen.
Right.
That's
the exception.
That's a very, very...
We are the exception.
We are the exception. I am an outlier to everything, apparently, when it comes to dating.
Yeah.
But obviously that didn't work out for very many reasons. But that doesn't happen. So, like, just, like, so many girls, they're really bitter about not being asked out. But what are you doing? Again, like, be where you want to meet this guy, and don't just expect him just to show up.
Right.
And like, you have to give him a reason to ask you out.
Kind of like the last thing I said. Yeah. Just like make it easy.
Make it easy for him.
Bring the opportunity.
Yeah, because if you're just like, I'd have so many girls that they would literally be sitting on their couch watching chick flicks, where are you in my life type of stuff.
Right.
And they would get jealous of the girls that do get asked out because, you know, we're out there, we're putting ourselves out there, and we're being vulnerable too. Like, you have to be able to allow yourself to be vulnerable enough to go on a date and like have conversations and try to be yourself and not put up this facade of like, I'm perfect, I'm always right, and like, you should want me. Because it's a partnership. It's not like...
Yeah. I would definitely say people who get the most dates are the ones who are the most tactfully vulnerable.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm an open book. But there are things that it's harder to share when I'm actually interested in someone, you know? And, like, being able to open up and be like, hey, you know, I have crazy parents. You know, like, this is a thing, but I'm working on it.
This is Des.
Therapy is amazing. This is Des. Well, and that's another thing is when you're on the date, I guess that's not really what our podcast today is about, but like, just to be yourself and not put up this facade of being perfect, because you're not going to get a second date out of that, because if you're not being authentic. And kind of going along with some stuff we said earlier, but like, look for potential, not perfection. When you're going out with someone, again, you're usually gonna marry someone that's less than a 10 in your eyes, at least at first, but like, they don't have to have the perfect job right away. They don't have to like be so set that you're just gonna like slide into their lives. Like, marriage is hard, dating is hard, and you need to be able to work together to like work through it. But
I like your use of the word potential, though.
Yeah.
Because there's a difference between dating somebody who you think you can change versus somebody who's has active potential. Yeah. And active potential is something that they're working forward to already versus, I'm just going to create this whole new persona that they never were interested in.
Oh, exactly. Well, and like, just that aspect of no one's perfect, right? And like you want to progress, but you want to be with someone that is motivated and that has like passion in something, you know, even if it's not what you initially love, like, at least they have drive, you know, like, heaven forbid you marry someone and then they like sit at home all day and like, you know, just
no passion.
There's no passion. They don't want to do anything. Like, but you also have to have that drive and that outlook on it. But I think that's just mainly my things. Like, put yourself out there, make it easier for the guys, let them know that you're interested. I think the biggest thing is inviting them to stuff. Like, yeah, you may not want to ask guys out. You may want to be more traditional in that, which is great. Like, I'm more along those lines, but I will ask guys to activities, or, hey, I'm having a movie night, or sometimes girls, we create game nights specifically so specific guys will show up, you know, and sometimes they don't, but use that opportunity to network and meet new people and put yourself out there. It's that filtering system. So like, the more people you meet, the more likely that you're going to get dates out of it.
Yeah.
But it was just that act of getting ourselves out there and making it easy for guys to ask us out and saying, hey, we want to go boating sometime, you want to go? Or like, hey, we're looking for someone that has a boat. Do you know of anyone? You know, like, and then
where's the boat, man?
Where's the boat? Oh, my uncle's third cousin's dog owner has one. Perfect. You know, network, get out there. I realize that sometimes I ask for tell you to do stuff that's hard for you because that's just not your personality. Like, for me, it's easier to go to these places and end up with a date. But it sounds so bad. but
you always sound bad.
I always sound bad. I'm not trying to be consistent, but like, if you do, like, I tell people, if you want what I have, then do what I'm telling you to do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or like, I will coach girls all the time. Like, just having eye contact with the guy, like, it helps know that you're like even remotely interested. Or like, when he catches you staring at him, then like smile and look away or bite your lip. Or there's tons of things
Stare
that you
at
can
him
do.
and lick your lips.
I didn't say lick, I said bite. Just nibble, you know.
Just nibble on.
You know you like it. Like, it happens a lot. But I don't know. I'm going on a rampage. I'm sorry. But, like, you have to show that you're interested in your own way. For me, it's the physical touch. It's the being close to him or striking up conversation and letting him know in any way that you can that you're interested. And if he's interested back or remotely, like, want to spend time with you, he will ask you out. Living proof.
Right.
I was going to say something like, you should hit the guys or whatever, but, like,
right.
don't hit them. But, like, there are times where I'm like, they can't see me, but I'm like, oh, right. You're so funny. Like, whatever. Right. Or, like, teasing, I feel, is a sixth love language.
Sure.
Right? Yeah. And so when a guy is teasing me, like, I'm like, oh, yeah, bring it on, you know? And so, like, I'll like, push it, you know, just, like, trying to say it, like, we probably should do this one in like, physical or whatever, so I could be like, you're so funny.
We'll film us flirting with each other.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can't
stay tuned, everybody, for the video of Desi flirting with me.
It's great. It's so great. But no, it totally works. I like, from a guy's perspective, if a girl's just like, oh my gosh, stop it.
Yeah.
There's that physical. And like, usually I would say 9 out of 10 guys, physical touch is like the first top 2 of their love languages, if not 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
So it's usually up there. And so if a girl is making any like physical contact of like, you know, and saying things like, haha, I like you while they're touching you, then it's like a double whammy of like, hey,
clearly she's into me.
Clearly. And then if you say no to a date after that, then you're just messed up, chick. Like,
you're the tease.
You're the tease. Well, and guys, I feel like you like a little tease. You like the little...
A little tease.
A little tease.
Rejecting is not teasing.
No. But like, guys like a little bit of chase. And girls like a little bit of chase. No one wants like a like super easy...
Shoo-in.
Like if I know a guy is like extremely into me, like extremely from the get-go, I'm like, what's wrong with you? Like, don't you know me? Like, don't you know that like I'm not perfect? I have issues. It's kind of like a setback or, you know, whatever. But there needs to be that anticipation of like, oh my gosh, I'm being vulnerable. I'm putting myself out there. Do you like me back? Yes. And reading the situation, because there's so many times where people would be like, yeah, I want to date this girl. And it's like, does she do anything to like, have you talked to her? No. But like, I'm like in love with her. It's like, you have to have interaction.
Right.
Or then it's just kind of weird or creepy. You're like, how'd you get my number?
Right. You're just like, okay, starfish.
Okay, starfish. Exactly. The starfish are out tonight. Throw that one back in. Help a brother out. Right. So, yeah.
Okay. So those are our tips.
Sorry they weren't very spelled out for you.
Basically, make it easy and flirt, girls. And then guys, stop being starfish.
Nobody knows what that is.
We'll talk about the starfish later. Anyway. So girls, flirt more. Guys, basically get out there and make it more fun and stop being super serious and overly selective. Make dating fun and nonchalant and easygoing.
Yeah, I think the more casual we can make the dating atmosphere, the more people are going to just be able to chill and have a good time and not have pressure. Like, pressure of dating is so much anyways. Why add to it? Let's just have fun and get to know them, and then if you like them, try to go on a second date or see where it goes. But like, first dates should not be like a marriage interview. It should just be a getting to know you and networking.
Yeah, which is why we have the meat market.
That's why we have the meat market.
Do you want to...
For those of you who don't know what the meat market is, it is a matchmaking service where the whole point of it is for you to get out, meet new people, to network, to be set up on a date with someone who potentially could be your special someone. But at the end of the day, it's an opportunity for you to meet new people and with the potential of finding your person. But it's in a group setting, so there's group dates, group events where you will have a date. But if you don't like your date, then there are other people on the date that you might click with for the next time, or because we don't want you to like ditch your date for someone else's date. But that's never cool. But or maybe your date has a cousin or a brother or a a roommate that you could potentially be with. But majority of the people that end up finding their person, it's because they got out of their house and they went to something. And so
be more social.
All right. And we're getting able to do that again, so it's perfect. I mean,
that's right.
Yeah.
Those are our tips. Smile with Desi. I'm Smile. This is Desi.
Hey.
We're out.